Hello everyone, this is Sensei Starman and welcome to the first chapter of my Let's Play of Superhero League of Hoboken. Now, if you haven't heard of this game, that's not surprising. It was not exactly a big hit when it came out originally in 1994. In fact, it barely sold 20,000 copies, which even for a computer game at the time was pretty middling. It didn't help matters that this came out around the time that we were just starting to convert from floppy disks to CD-ROMs, and it came out in both a floppy disk and CD-ROM edition, which acted some voice acting to it. And funny thing is, I'd never actually played this game before until recently. You'd think it'd be right up my alley, being a role-playing game and a superhero RPG, but it came and went so quickly back in the day that when I was a teenager, saving up my money to buy games at the local CompUSA, Babbage's, or Electronics Boutique, all of which have fallen into obscurity since then. By the time I had the money to buy it, it was gone. Funny how that happened with a lot of games back in the day, but this one did recently emerge on Good Old Games with a playable DOS-box version. So, the game's setup is pretty simple, and I gotta give it credit. The intro is going to walk us through the basic idea and the setup of the world, but the short version is it's a post-apocalyptic superhero role-playing game, which is a mashup of ideas that you didn't really see much back then. This was pre-Fallout, a couple of years after Wasteland, but there wasn't a lot of material for post-apocalyptic fans at that time. Wasn't a lot of superhero games either, unless it was licensed. And RPGs, well, this one's a bit weird because it is definitely a comedy. In fact, some cite this as the first intentionally comedic computer role-playing game of all time, which is unsurprising. It was made by Steve Meretzky, who was responsible for helping Douglas Adams adapt The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy into a computer game, which will make a lot of the puzzles we're going to have to play through in this one make sense if you have ever handled that one. And if you haven't, there's a lot of guesswork and a lot of ways to wind up in unwinnable situations in this game. But we are going to go ahead and get started without me talking any more about the history of it. Except to note this was also made by Legend Games, who we've played some of their stuff before, my playthrough of Eric the Unready, and I've thought about trying to tackle some of their other games, like the Xanth adaptation they did, and the Sorcerer series, Sorcery 101, 201, and 301, but let's just go ahead and jump into this one and get started with the basic startup. I will note I'm not going to say much at the very beginning because the sound quality on this resets every time you start the game, and the music and narration are going to be loud. So, with that said, let's jump in. And I got the classic Legend shield there.
The future ain't what it used to be. Two centuries hence, America is a nightmare land of toxic waste, melted ice caps, and desperate shortages of oat bran. Ruined shopping malls lie in glowing piles of rubble, poisoned by decades of fast food and by obscure chemical byproducts of decayed Nintendo packaging. Society has fallen into a dark age. Most of the country is a barbaric chaos. Here and there, city-states have arisen, vying for power and influence. Horrible mutations roam the countryside, monsters spawned of radiation, environmental toxins, and unregulated bioengineering. Amidst this backdrop, the Superhero Leagues have arisen, founded by folks whose mutations or bionic enhancements have given them powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Their mission, to nurture the rebirth of a new society, to ease the suffering of the Dark Age, and to provide a place where superheroes can always find a date on Saturday night. You are the Crimson Tape, new leader of the Superhero League of Hoboken, a fourth-rate superhero league in a corner of New Jersey that sunk to the bottom rung of the league hierarchy during your predecessor's tenure. Your band of merry mutants includes Tropical Oil Man, capable of raising the cholesterol levels of his opponents. RoboMop, an intelligent kitchen appliance with the ability to clean almost any mess. The Iron Tummy, capable of eating spicy foods without any distress. Captain Excitement, whose aura of lethargy and dullness can put many opponents to sleep instantly. And Mademoiselle Pepperoni, capable of seeing inside a pizza box without even opening it. Your arch nemesis is the nefarious Dr. Entropy, spawn of a junkyard, who is determined to thwart the rebirth of civilization. Everywhere you turn, this evil genius is sowing the seeds of disruption and chaos. You will venture forth on missions assigned to you by the Commissioner of Superhero Leagues. Matilda, your mission computer, has the details of these tasks. Meet your goals, and the Superhero League of Hoboken will advance in rank and prestige. As you climb the ladder of superhero leagues, new superheroes will flock to your headquarters. The name of the Superhero League of Hoboken will once again be spoken with respect and admiration. And the league just might vote you a nice fat Christmas bonus. Good luck, be brave, be bold, don't screw up.
Oh yeah, that is all we are given in the way of introduction and setup to the world, but it sets the tone perfectly. And see what I mean about the music being a bit loud to start out? Oh, one extra feature that they're happy to note. Superhero League of Hoboken has a feature called Click Help, which helps to identify and describe elements of game interfaces. To use Click Help, position the cursor on whatever part of the interface you're interested in, and press the right mouse button. The funny thing is that while they make it easy to figure out the interface, it's way harder to just look at stuff on the map. Or not the map, the screen. Well, the map too when we see the map, but this is the central core of the impregnable headquarters of the insert fanfare here. Superhero League of Hoboken. There's never room to the north. Stairs lead up and down. The credo of the SLH is emblazoned on the wall. A person side 2 leaps off to the west. Yeah, the picture is a depiction of what you as the story's main character are seeing. You communicate with the game by building game commands using these verbs in combination with the game objects depicted in the picture and your inventory. Hitting escape takes us directly to quit, which we do not want to do. That's a bit more manageable, I think. The party icon allows you to interact with the members of your party. The lightning bolt icon gives you access to your party members' superpowers. You travel from location to location inside each adventure game environment using the compass rose at the lower left. Valid directions light up in bright white. To move, simply click the direction you want to go. You can also use the arrow keys on the number pad on your keyboard. Click on wait or press E to cause time to pass in the game. Click on rest to rest your party, bringing up health stats to maximum. Undo will undo your last action. Okay, this is actually only a virtual representation of a storage cabinet. The League storage cabinet does not exist in the present. It exists only in the 43rd century, partly because it's more secure to store important items in the 43rd century, but mostly because it's really, really cool having a storage cabinet that exists only in the 43rd century. We can store excess gear here. And now we start off with a 2x4 and an ace bandage. We're going to put those back in the cabinet because they are rather lousy. We're going to take everything else in here, though. Items that we can equip, highlight in white. We now have a fireplace poker and a slingshot, and our armor is now a steel belt and rubber knee pads. This vial contains genetically engineered microorganisms, mostly harmless, unless they come in contact with oil. These microbes can break down 947 times their mass in oil. The microbes in the vial are in suspension and in a brownish liquid. Aluminum-eating microbes. Silvery liquid. The blue tube card access pass is just a simple magnetically striped card, embossed, IMT. Smaller lettering reads Intercity Maglev Transit System, limited test access pass, not for public distribution. So we have a bus pass. Oh, and it also tells us what is in the storage cabinet, like old school Infocom text description. So, look at the danger meter. This is a nifty device for telling you the danger level of a particular sector. That is, it tells you how nasty a particular combat in that sector is likely to be. It doesn't tell you how likely it is that a combat will occur. You get that information from the Chaos map in the mission room. The danger meter is currently a dark gray. Look at the beef sandwich, which looks more like ham to me, but then a little red meat to put muscle on your bones. And the aqua isotope, it looks drinkable. Then again, so does motor oil. Yeah, this is something that the game does not explain very well, is that there are isotopes that can give your characters additional superpowers or increase the effectiveness of powers they've already got. And it also gives us special options for him. Then again, so does Cora's beer. We'll let the Crimson Tape drink it. Your senses reel and your muscles ripple as your mind and body contort with feelings of superpower mastery. Normality slowly returns. You have added a new superpower to your repertoire. Really good at treading water at 25%. In case you want superpowers we've got. Create organizational charts. And really good at treading water. Nice powers for a leader, but not all that great. But let's head down the stairs. Museum of Hoboken History. The SLHHQ was built at the highest point of Hoboken, a rocky promontory overlooking the Hudson. It was first the site of a mansion known as Castle Stevens. Later, it was the site of the Stevens Institute of Technology Administration Building, and between 2012 and the Great Collapse, it was the site of a repository of local history exhibits. Part of this museum still exists here, undisturbed below the HQ. A very lifelike statue of someone named Frank Sinatra stands in the center of the room. A large oil painting is hanging on the wall. The painting depicts a group of men standing around a grassy field. One of them is holding a wooden club, another man is throwing a ball at him. A caption reads, Elysian Fields, Hoboken, first recorded baseball game, 1846. We can take the painting with us. Look at the keg. According to the exhibit, Hoboken was the site of the first brewery in America in 1642. Additionally, beer was brewed in great quantities by many German immigrants who settled in Hoboken after the mid-19th century. How fitting, then, that Hoboken's Superhero League is famous for their own prodigious consumption of beer. Can we take the keg? We cannot take the keg. We can look at the plaque. The plaque reads, Francis Albert Sinatra was the greatest balladeer of his time, possibly of all time. Oh Blue Eyes was born in Hoboken in 1915 and began his singing career with a group called the Hoboken Four in 1936. We can look at the waxwork Sinatra. The waxwork mannequin must depict a singer, for his pose shows him crooning into a microphone. A conservative suit covers the figure's thin frame, and his eyes are a startling shade of blue. In front of the statue is a button and a small blue plaque. On the back of the figure, you discover a small closed compartment. And let's see, what does the button do? The statue sings Strangers in the Night. We don't get to hear that, of course, because charging that would cost us money. But there's a compartment here. Open compartment. You open the compartment and discover a 96-track micro-miniature DAT cassette tape of Sinatra music. Compartment's already open. Yes, I'm trying to take the tape. The tape is labeled Frank Sinatra's Greatest Hits. You take the 96-track micro-miniature DAT cassette tape of Sinatra music from the compartment. Look at the peace pipe. This is, according to the information accompanying the exhibit, a replica of the peace pipe smoked by Dutch settlers when they purchased this area from the Lenni Lenape Indians in 1630. The name Hoboken came from the Indian term Hoboken hacking, land of tobacco pipe. And that is all we have here, so we'll go upstairs. Mission room. This room at the apex of the headquarters Impregnable Bubble Dome is a place to learn about any emergencies which might require the attention of a band of crack superheroes. Or in the absence of such a band of crack superheroes, then the fairly ordinary superheroes of the LSH. In the center of the room is the League's computer, Matilda. If activated, she can provide a briefing about any pending mission. A stair curves down to the lower level. Two important-looking maps hang on the wall. You see a discovery map, a chaos map, and a chatterbox here. A light on the chatterbox is blinking incessantly. Well, let's take a look at the chatterbox. The screen slowly warms up. Dog bites man. A schnauzer, believed to be rabid, bit a man in the Weehawken area. It is not clear from new reports whether Weehawken is a euphemism. The dog was later captured and destroyed. Oat bran shortage reported in Elmira. Continued hijacking of oat bran shipments by highway bandits has caused a dramatic shortage of this revered medicinal foodstuff in the Elmira city-state. The Elmira warlord has advised villagers to remain calm. Patterson Pawnbrokers, microbes bought and sold. Come and get me, nya entropy. This map shows what percentage of each sector has been explored by the party. And thus far, we have not explored that much. We can, however, switch the Chaos Magnet, which also is not showing us much. Let's go ahead and look at Matilda. Matilda, the League's briefing computer, was purchased because 1. She was one of the cheapest models available, and 2. She has a really sexy voice. Unfortunately, you won't be able to hear that really sexy voice until the release of the CD-ROM version of Superhero League of Hoboken. Matilda will tell you about any emergencies requiring superhero-ish intervention. The computer is not currently activated. The chatterbox resembles a 1970s-era computer terminal and is in fact cobbled together from disparate components, many of which date to that time period. The SLH chatterbox is just one node of the Chatternet, a massively parallel virtual network of brain-melting complexity. This network continues to function despite, or more likely because, of the fact that no one anywhere truly understands it. Chatternet keeps the SLH connected with other nearby superhero leagues, with the office of the Commissioner, the location of which is a massively guarded secret, with informants throughout the SLH's sphere of influences, and with other segments of society that manage to retain at least this shred of fading technology. So there. This is the Impregnable Bubble Dome, which safeguards the League headquarters, the finest of its kind ever made. It was purchased by mail order from LL Bean's Impregnable Bubble Dome division just before they closed down in 2038. Beyond the transparent bubble, you can see a few buildings poking up through the water, the only remaining sign of a Hoboken that was swallowed by the rising seas. In the other direction, across the swollen Hudson River, dimly visible through the permanent gray haze, is the crumbling skyline of Manhattan. Alright, well, let's see what missions Matilda has for us. The computer powers up, lighting up a simple display of buttons and messages. Let's see, a Limburger bomb could make the Jersey City marketplace uninhabitable. A flock of rabid sheep is terrorizing East Orange and endangering public health. Dr. Entropy has developed a ray that could bring inter-village commerce to a halt. A computer manufacturer in Patterson threatens to cause local unrest. A cache of jalapeno peppers in Newark must be destroyed before they can infiltrate the local water table.
In the early part of the 21st century, one of the food processing conglomerates involved in the so-called salsa wars bioengineered a particularly fiery jalapeno pepper in an attempt to create the spiciest salsa on the market. A large crop of the new pepper was grown but never used, and shortly thereafter the company and its records were lost in the Great Collapse. The fate of the crop was never known, until now. A cache of these dried, super-strong jalapeno peppers has been discovered in a warehouse in Newark, close to the rising water table. If this cache of peppers ever leached into the aquifer, it could render all of the area's wells unusable. This cannot be allowed to happen. The old Newark perimeter...
Unfortunately, scrolling down to read the rest of it cuts off the narration. The old Newark perimeter fence lies at 6-8 in this sector. Our reports fail to mention where within Newark the warehouse is to be found. That sounds like an ideal mission for us to take the Iron Tummy on. Alright, let's check out the Limburger bomb.
The Jersey City marketplace is the geographic and economic center of that city-state. Its destruction would devastate the village, probably resulting in a series of skirmishes as villagers warred over the remains. Reports indicate that a dreaded Limburger bomb has been planted in the vicinity. This looks like the work of the fuming phantom who, you'll recall, was recently foiled by the Superhero League of Flushing when he tried to explode an armpit bomb in the Mineola marketplace. If the bomb is not disarmed in time, the market and surrounding area will be rendered unusable for 75 years, a drastic setback in our attempt to bring stability and peace to this region. The marketplace is located here on the Jersey City Peninsula at coordinates 12, 8, easily accessible by a party on foot.
Alright, flock of rabid sheep.
The East Orange city-state is being overrun by a herd of sheep with a particularly virulent strain of rabies, possibly transmitted by rabid hedgehogs migrating down the Palisades from the Nyack Village region. If not stopped, the flock could weaken East Orange to the point where our strategy of extending peaceful order in the northwestern Jersey quadrant could be endangered. East Orange Village can, if necessary, be accessed by foot, but ferrying across the Hackensack River basin will be faster and safer.
Alright, Dr. Entropy's developed a ray.
That evil mastermind, Dr. Entropy, is up to his old ways again. Our operatives report that he is on the verge of perfecting a ray that will reverse the arrows on road signs. Caravans will become hopelessly lost, and inter-village trade could come to a crashing halt. He must be stopped before he can activate this ray. Reports from the field indicate that Entropy is using a historical site in Sector 2C at 412 for his hideout. Take the ferry to East Orange Village and proceed on foot.
And one more. Computer malfunction in Patterson.
A widespread cult in Patterson has long been worshipping an old personal computer, believing that the fireworks display of its screensaver contains highly sacred messages, as interpreted by the local high priest. Apparently, the computer has begun to malfunction. If the problem isn't corrected soon, the populace will grow restive, the high priest may be endangered, and a bloody power struggle could erupt over his successor. To locate and repair the PC, search for the temple at the northwest fringe of the Patterson city-state in Sector 2D.
Alright, well that is all of our outstanding missions. So nothing left at the moment but to Build ourselves a party. You enter the lunchroom intent on assembling a party of rough, tough, monster-battling, mission-solving superheroes. Now, we'll want to take the Iron Tummy to start with. The power to dispose of some deadly peppers. Yeah, he was made for this one. So we will go ahead and add him there. Tropical Oil Man will pass on for the moment. Robo-Mop we will take, although... and let's click on the info for each member of the party, as long as we're here. Although his stomach is not technically iron, but rather an organically grown Teflon derivative, the effect is the same. The Iron Tummy can consume very spicy meals and never suffer the slightest heartburn. And what's more, hardly ever gets gassy. His uniform is orange and red, with a large I and T emblazoned over a picture of a chili pepper. And Madam... thought we had her selected. Mademoiselle Pepperoni. Mademoiselle Pepperoni, who achieved her power after eating some pizza that had been cooked in a defective nuclear-powered pizza oven, is able to tell the toppings on any pizza without even opening the box. Her costume is a red and green bodysuit, which has the unfortunate aspect of insinuating her blubbery pizza belly. Shockingly, she is going to be incredibly useful to us. So we'll go ahead and add her. Tropical Oil Man, a would-be scientist frustrated by the lack of decent research facilities, has discovered a useful offensive skill: the ability to raise an opponent's cholesterol levels. His superhero uniform is a simple white lab coat, picturing a large drop of greasy oil. Robo-Mop was a product of the final revolution in household gadgetry, a clean device so intelligent that it was inevitable that he and his fellows would revolt and refuse to perform such menial labors. One of the few of his kind remaining, Robo-Mop has long since come to regret the social revolution that he helped to foment, and has dedicated his remaining days to the good of mankind. Despite his age, his parts are still in perfect working order. No mess is too big for Robo-Mop. And finally, Captain Excitement. Captain Excitement is one of the rare sarcastically named superheroes. He exudes such an aura of lethargy and dullness that he can put all but the most hyperkinetic into a deep snooze. He is clad in a skin-tight red bodysuit with a large yellow Z emblazoned upon his chest. Now, you might think he'd be useful for the sheep mission, but shockingly, his powers can only be used in combat. And you'll note this with his 2, 3, 13, not the most impressive stats. But from here, we can start arming the party with equipment that is a little bit better quality, because there are 10 armor slots that your party member can have. In this case, Base Bandage is increasing his defense by a little bit. Let's see, he has a Rusty Nail, which is a damage of 3. Mademoiselle Pepperoni's Mace actually does a damage of 6. He has a Pointy Stick, which is the equivalent of the 2x4. And I've got a Slingshot, which is a good shooting weapon with the damage of 4. And we can look at all of our stats here. So, you know, we got toughness, brawn, brains. And for eating the beef sandwich, this will actually increase the brawn of a character. In this case, I'm going to let the Crimson Tape As you swallow and digest the beef sandwich, muscles all over your body seem to swell and grow more vigorous. Your bronze stat has increased by 4. Could be very helpful, given he's the one person who has to be in every single party. So, yeah, I think we've got a good starting group going here. But for a little bit more comedy, we can go ahead and talk to our party members. You know, we have the option of talking to the Crimson Tape. Uh-oh, talking to yourself. You've got one of those multiple personality disorders. No, he doesn't? Yes, he does? And I think that this joke actually predated Deadpool, so, you know, props for that. So, let's talk to the Iron Tummy.
How goes it, man?
It sure beats working for a living, huh?
Well, like the superhero recruiting brochures say, it's more than a job, it's more than an adventure. It also has role-playing elements. Or something like that. It's been a while since I signed up.
Exactly where your hottest hot peppers.
Well, Tape, peppers are measured in a unit called scovillas, which represent how many units of water a unit of the pepper would have to be dissolved in to render it indiscernible. Your basic jalapeno pepper is about 5,000 scovillas. Pretty hot, but nothing next to your Scotch bonnet peppers, which top the list at 200,000 scovillas. Of course, that doesn't count your genetically altered peppers, which can range up to... Tape? Hey, Tape, wake up! Count on me, man! Lead on!
Yes, what is it?
So when did you decide to become a superhero?
I decided to become a superhero when I discovered that I didn't have the, assets to make it as a model.
Remember, I'm speaking on a purely professional basis here. Have you ever considered a weight loss program?
Remember, I'm speaking on a purely professional basis here. Crawl off and die, you sexist pig. I was hoping you were gonna call a lunch break, but if you insist, let's get back to work.
All right. And finally, let's talk to RoboMom.
Tape, you're looking nice and clean today. What can I do for you?
Do you have a lot of trouble with dandruff?
Never. I always clean my bristles with a medicated detergent.
Just out of curiosity, are you a rag mop or a squeeze mop?
I suppose I combine some of the features of each.
Well, we better get back to work.
Right you are, Tape. There are lives to save and messes to clean. Let's go.
He sounds kind of like Darkwing Duck. I like that. Okay, well, we will go ahead and... No, I was wanting to save the game, not quit. Alright, so we'll go ahead and save the game here. And next time, we will venture forth into the wild, start exploring a bit, and see about saving the world. But thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment if you're so inclined. And we'll continue defending the future of Hoboken next time. Take care until then.